This is the iconic lighthouse. It is located on Presque Isle State Park, right here in Erie, Pennsylvania. And there are changes afoot. And you're going to be happy about everything that's going on. So come on with me. This is the iconic Presque Isle Lighthouse, built in 1872. Thanks to the efforts of this gentleman, Mr. Joseph Maloney, things are going to change here. Joe, what's going to change? A lot.
Well, the big issue is to get it open to the public so that we can have the public being able to go up to the tower and view out over the lake. Mm-hmm. That was a long process. People for probably the last 20 or 30 years have been trying to get this open to the public.
Yeah, now the DCNR, the state pretty much is the mothership here.
Yes.
How did you let loose the clamps?
Well, what we did as the Presque Isle Partnership a couple of years ago decided to sit down and put together a plan to get it so that it could be open to the public. At that time we sat down with Harry Leslie, the park manager, and presented him a plan and said, all right, this is what we need to do. We then took that to the Secretary of DCNR, showed her how that we thought we could do that we could take this lighthouse, open it to the public. Mm-hmm. Presque Isle Partnership was able to give some seed money, which was about $150,000. We then took and got grants to match that, and so now we're going to start with the restoration. But it was a pretty good process.
It's extremely long. Why is the state so slow in reacting to such a great project? Everybody wanted this to happen for years, as you said.
Well, this property was used as a residence for the assistant park managers and the park managers for a number of years. So they always want to have a ranger or a park manager somewhere close to the park so that they could get here in an emergency. So they wanted somebody to live here. So for the last probably 40, 50 years, assistant park manager lived on this property. So then you had to find a place mm-hmm. for them to live that was close enough that they could come to the park if necessary.
Erie-ites, you and I, we're very familiar with this. Most people that will be viewing this are somewhat familiar with it. But the real attraction are the people who come here from out of town and they drive by and they go, whoa, there's a lighthouse here, because lighthouses are magnets. And this is an iconic magnet. If you're a boater, this is an aid to navigation. This still functions. This still works. And so because of you and your persistence and your diligence and your planning, you convince them, let us handle this. We know what we're doing here. How are things going so far?
They're going great. We've got a couple grants that will start to do some renovations that you'll be able to go by and you'll see that they're done. So that part of it is really starting to go off, and it's going to be probably a 5 to 6, 7 year project to get it back to the point where we want it to. And then even after that, we're going to have, some additional work that we may be doing.
Mm-hmm. Right over behind you, there's an oil shed. That's an iconic landmark there too.
That's original.
Oh yeah, and that's original. This is where they would store the oil that they brought over from the city. The lighthouse keepers, I understand it, rowed across in a rowboat, had the oil, wheelbarrowed it into there, then took it upstairs. Oh boy, that was a hard knock life, yes. That's for sure. So these projects that you're going to be doing are not going to be so much inside the house, but they're going to be outside on the grounds?
Well, initially they're going to be outside. Mm-hmm. We'll be doing some projects that people, when they go by, they'll see that something has changed, yeah. And hopefully draw them into it.
Okay.
Yes, and then eventually we'll probably get into the house and try to see if we're going to make it like a museum or how that decision hasn't been made yet. Mm-hmm.
And there's a fee attached to doing this,
yes.
Or you certainly are looking for money, and I'll mention this many times, you're looking for money and volunteers.
Yes. Right now it's $5 on the weekend to go up to the top of the tower.
And the reason you can't go more than the weekends is?
Well, first of all, we don't have the volunteers and we don't have the staff that we can manage during the week. So right now everything is volunteer here except for a couple part-time people. And then what we're looking to do is at some point probably have a fundraiser to get some fairly large amount of money so that we can do some more. But you also can join the Presque Isle Light Station and contribute to this.
Okay. How do you get to be a volunteer? Just call, sign up, website?
We have a website. Obviously, you can call and sign up with Jackie Tamaron,
Okay.
and she'll put you on the list.
How did you get involved? I mean, you're involved in so many things. How did you get involved?
I got involved with
I got to stop right there. This man is very good with numbers, so you want him on your side when it comes to ciphering. So I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, it really got involved. I had a client that was looking to donate some money to the park. And so she put together a trust to use that will be on historical sites, and this, of course, being one of them, Perry Monument being the other one. And then we started talking about trying to get that to the point where we can get it open to the public. Everybody has wanted for a number of years to get it open to the public. So once we got that money, we then decided to put together a plan. And so that's what we did. I was president of the Presque Isle Partnership at that time, and we put it together. That was really the catalyst.
I think most people will know the Presque Isle Partnership was the instrumental in bringing Crosby, Stills and Nash, Steely Dan to the concerts on the beach. I mean, that had never, ever been done before, and that was because of good people like you. That turned out to be successful.
Yes, there's a lot of people on the Presque Isle Partnership that worked very hard to get that, and they're starting to plan it for the next time.
I was just going to say, stay tuned. There's going to be another one?
Yes.
Ooh, do you have any idea who's coming?
No, we'd like to get a number of people.
A big group, huh? A big group.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Joe.
Thank you.
Thanks to good people like Joe. This is happening. So come on out to Presque Isle, drive by the lighthouse, and watch the work in progress. Hard to beat what we're standing in front of. Lake Erie, the grounds of the iconic Presque Isle Lighthouse. Jack Watts, one of the people making all the changes that are happening. Jack, what's your title?
Well, I'm just a member of the Presque Isle Lighthouse organization. Just a happy member of the board.
Oh, that's nice of you to say that. So what's your wheelhouse as you're doing what?
Well, actually, I'm somewhat responsible for the construction committee. We have 3 or 4 of us that belong to that, and the purpose of that group is to identify the projects that we need to do to get going on the restoration of this beautiful building.
And I would assume that you're stacking them according to money and according to money.
According to money and money, but the first one, the most important one that we wanted to get started before we could open up for visitors this year was to get the safety items addressed.
Okay.
We certainly didn't want any of the, as you know, we've had over 4,000 visitors come through the lighthouse since Memorial Day. We didn't want anybody to be injured. And the first one that we did, and were able to get it accomplished approximately 6-8 weeks ago, was to redo the railing on the tower. Prior to that, it was the wrong height, and it didn't have the safety items that we and everybody else felt was necessary to be done. So we were able to accomplish that. That's finished, and we feel good about that. So now we're moving on to our next project, and that project is basically identifying this old chain link fence that you see around the lighthouse that was put in 30, 40 years ago or longer. It's certainly not a period-related fence, meaning that it doesn't even come close to what was here in the early 1900s or 1920. We have a lot of pictures of what it looked like, and so we're in the process right now of getting the plans together for a new fence, and we hope to have this old chain link fence removed and the new fence put in by time winter hits.
I have to add that this is a labor of love. These people are not getting paid to do this. This is not their job to do this. So how'd you get involved?
Well, probably about 8 or 10 years ago, I was interested in looking for things to do when I retired. Everybody tells you, find some good things to do when you're retired. And so I joined the Presque Isle Partnership Board at that time. And when they asked me why I wanted to be on the board, first thing I said was, I'd like to see something done with the lighthouse to get it open to the public. And at that time, as you probably heard earlier, the lighthouse was not open to the public. And so I said, all right, I'll get on the board anyway, and became involved with that board. And just 2 years ago, as Joe Maloney probably told you, that we were able to get to the point where the state saw fit to move the Ranger to another location, and we were able to get the lighthouse turned over to our nonprofit, our new board for the lighthouse, and so we're going on doing the things that I wanted to do right at the beginning anyway.
Good for you. It can't be stressed enough here, though, that the DCNR, the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, and the state, they're the motherships here. This is the state park. It is run by the state
That's
of Pennsylvania. And somehow you convinced them that you people knew what you were doing. Just kind of back away a little bit. Let us do our thing here, and you'll be proud of what we're going to do.
Well, the lady at the time that was the head of DCNR down in Harrisburg, when we approached her, she sat and thought about it for a few seconds and said, that's a great idea. And we all sit back and kind of laugh because Harry Leslie was at that meeting. He said, don't get too excited. We've heard this before. But she followed through with what she stated and asked her people to get involved and make it happen. And they did. So I give DCNR a lot of credit for making that move at that time.
So there's a triage of things that are going to happen here. We're doing
Correct.
this, and then we'll finish that, then we're doing this. By the way, it should be noted, on the day we're taping this, there was a family from Pittsburgh walking, hiking, and wanted to come through and check it out and looking at this and asking a million questions, which is pretty normal. People
Correct.
are attracted to this lighthouse.
A day doesn't go by, we're only open on the weekends, but a day doesn't go by during the week that people don't come to our fence, come to the fence back here and want to get on and take a look at the lighthouse, get inside. So it's a very, very interesting attraction for Presque Isle, for Erie, for the whole community.
You took care of the walkway up there, the fence.
Correct.
And you're going to take care of the fence that's behind us here.
That's right.
Next priorities?
The other priority is somewhat around the safety issues too, or the sidewalks that are in not too good of a shape. They're going to be addressed either this fall or next spring, followed by, we have plans in the works right now, and we actually have a grant. It's called C2P2 grant that came from the state to change our garage into an orientation center. So there's nice plans on the way for that, and hopefully next spring and summer we'll get going on that project.
So the garage will become a kind of a informational learning center, so to speak?
Both,
And
yes.
there'll be a fee. You can buy things. There'll be a
Correct.
novelty shop. T-shirts that say, I climbed the steps. I survived.
Well, as you may or may not know, the nature shop, which is run by the Presque Isle Partnership up at Tom Ridge Center, has a annex here in the lighthouse right now. We set up a room inside
I didn't know that.
where they are selling gifts. When we're open, they're open. And then they'll transfer over to the new orientation building next year, bigger and better things. So they've been a great partner for us too.
So how many acres are we talking about here? Do you know?
There's a little less than one. I think it's
Okay.
like 0.85 or something like that.
But it's going to be really an economic machine here too.
Well,
and an aesthetic machine too.
Yeah, we think so. There's a lot of long-range plans too, beyond the ones that I've talked about, that are necessary to generate some of the funds. Even though we've gotten a few grants, and the Presque Isle Partnership, their last concert last year, the Steely Dan concert, they gave us a nice donation from that concert. We have the Presque Isle Lighthouse license plates that generated some funds. And then we're going to try, to your point, once the lighthouse is in shape for events, we can rent out the facility for baby showers, wedding showers, private events, yes. So that's on the radar also.
Would this be a cool place to say, hey, we're going to get married at the lighthouse? Can you do that? You gonna do that?
Yeah, there's people that done it already. There's there's been weddings out on the beach with the lighthouse in the background. There's been weddings right over here with the lighthouse in the background. So we've been approached several times by brides and mothers to rent it out. So
it's so much a part of our heritage and the heritage of our country and the heritage of the state. You know, I mean, this is a functioning lighthouse. This is an aid to navigation. And
I would be remiss if I didn't mention, you know, DCNR is a great partner with us here. The park personnel are in the process right now. You may have noticed they cleared an area on the other side of our fence over there. They cleared it out last week, and they're going to put in a modern restroom there. So they'll be excavating in the next week or two. So we'll have a nice modern restroom within walking distance to replace our temporary restrooms that we have here now. So it's a lot of plans.
All good things to look forward to. me introduce you to the person in charge of everything going on here, Jackie Tamaro. It's because of you that all of this is happening, you know, and you can't deny that.
Well, it's been a long time coming, Phil. In 2004, I retired from the health department and decided to put my energies into getting the lighthouse open.
And because of those energies, it is getting open.
It is. It is happening. It transitioned last year, as you heard from our speakers. It transitioned, and now it is open to the public.
There's always monies involved, and I'm holding a license plate that people can still purchase, and we'll put where you can get this, the website, the phone number, all that. We'll put that up on the screen for you. You see a lot of these around everywhere, and if you wondered and said, gee, I'd like to own one of these, well, this is your chance to buy in and to help the lighthouse in the restoration. Behind us, it's difficult to see because we're at a long shot here, but the bricks need to be pointed. There's a lot of stuff to be done, and all of that comes to dollars.
Yes, and we are estimating $1.5 million to $2 million, because we have to repoint the bricks, we have to redo the roof, we have to change all of the windows, we have to redo all of the floors that are inside. Plus, because this is on the Register of Historic Places, we have to do it in a fashion that agrees with that historical restoration. So you can't just go in and do what you want to do.
And paint it striped pink with zebra yellow or something like that.
No, it has to be according to, and there's a whole manual, and we report to Pennsylvania Historic Museum Commission anything that we do, and they approve it.
Okay, but in my estimation, it has started, and your numbers are significant. You've had over 4,000 people since you started opening. And by the way, if you're interested in touring, it's always a good thing to check the website to make sure they are open, because we don't want you driving out here and go, oh, darn it, they're not open. You can walk the grounds if you want. You can walk the beach if you want and take a look at it. But as far as going in, check the website.
Right.
Yeah, check the website first. Another thing that you would like is, besides money, which can come from here and grants and other events, is you'd like people to volunteer, because it takes a lot of people to make this happen out here. It's not just the three of you that we talked to today.
Exactly. In fact, I would just like to say to your listeners that we have 62 volunteers who have come to the lighthouse every weekend. We need 10 people each day that we are open, because it is a guided tour. We have to have a guide at the top of the lighthouse. You know, it's very important, and we tell them a lot of history. So it takes a lot of people who have a lot of knowledge who share with all of the people who come. And again, as you mentioned, we've had over 4,000. We've only been open 25 days, and we've had over 4,000 visitors. It's
a testimony to how much people wanted this to open.
Right.
Nothing against the person or the people who were living here. I know who they were. But people would drive by and go, can't they find someplace else to live?
And finally they did last year.
Yes, they did. They found someplace else to live. And as I mentioned earlier, people are standing behind us. They're off camera. You can't see them. They're exploring. They want to be here. And I mentioned just a little while ago, people from Pittsburgh were here saying, well, can we go in? You know, I mean, it's just, I'm using your words, and I've used them again and again. Lighthouses are magnets.
They are. And 75% of those 4,000 people are from outside of Erie County.
Wow.
So we have Erie County to bring in yet.
Yes.
But
you're listening?
Yeah, we have Erie County to bring in. And so, but these people who come, they are coming from all different parts. We've had people here from Africa and from Ireland and from Utah. I mean, we're going to catalog all that for you, and we're going to share it with the public so that they can see how people love this lighthouse. And we do have to repair it, and it is going to be restored. And I would invite the listeners and the viewers to come and watch the progress. You know, you may not be able to get in, but we are always in need of volunteers. You know, getting this open to this point, again, only happened because there are 62 volunteers who give up their Saturday, Sunday to come.
And this didn't happen on a weekend, by the way. I should say, you threw your efforts into this in the year 2004, and 11 years later, we've taken that first baby step, maybe, you know, and bigger steps are yet to come. My impression from talking with Joe and from Jack is that the site, which is not quite about an acre, I guess, the site will become self-sustaining. Is that your hope, that you can make money and charge and make it in reasonable amounts?
And it will be. The initial impact, Bill, though, is the cost of restoring it. You see, and in 3 to 5 years, you know, that's what we're looking at, is we hope that we can raise enough money and there are grants available and there are donors, and we hope we can raise, and we have membership. That's one thing I want to share with the viewers too, is we have memberships, and they start at $30 for an individual, $20 for a senior, and $50 for a family. And that's an annual.
Okay.
And so they can pick up the cards at the Ridge Center. They can pick up the membership cards if we are open here at the Lighthouse.
Can they do it online?
They can't fill them out online, but they can certainly request them.
Sure.
And they can call the phone number, and we'd be happy to mail them a membership application, sure.
And all of that will be on the screen as we're talking about that. You have to be very proud and very happy, because actually we were here a little while ago and you were saying, well, we're going to do this, and I mean a little while ago, about 2 years ago, and you were saying, well, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, but now the smile on your face is a lot broader.
It is.
And your enthusiasm is infectious, and you have all these people who are just congratulating you, because Jackie Tamro, you did this. You're the one responsible. You and a bunch of other people, okay,
Yeah.
but because of you mostly.
Well, I tried to keep the light shining in everybody's eyes, and that's really all I wanted to do, and that's what I did. You know, it wasn't just me, but I kept talking about the lighthouse and the value of it to be open to the public. And because my husband and I, we visit lighthouses, we know what it takes. We knew how to get this one started when they said, okay, it's yours. We knew that we had to recruit, and we had to recruit quickly, and we had to train our volunteers, and we had to engage them to engage the public. That's a lot.
Oh, absolutely. And
That's a lot.
I didn't think that the state would really release its grip. I didn't think that would happen. They kind of like where they are, and change is slow, and paradigm shifts don't happen very easily.
Right.
But you made those things happen.
Well, when I got the phone call from Joe Maloney that said, it's going to happen in your lifetime, Jackie, because I turned around and said, you know, I've worked, 12 years, and it's just not going to happen. And I felt that way too, because it was government. They would just hold on to it.
Yeah.
But when I got the call from him, I was not in the area at the time, and he said, it is going to happen in your lifetime.
That's a nice thing.
And so that was really neat. And so I've enjoyed every minute of it. And we have big plans to make it look that the public will really be proud of it, and Erie will really be proud to bring their visitors here. It's going to happen.
We're already proud of it, and they're bringing the visitors already. Make sure you
happen.
come on out and say hello. Isn't that a beautiful sight? The Presque Isle Lighthouse here on Presque Isle in Erie, Pennsylvania. And thanks to the 3 people that you just met, all these changes are going to be occurring. Come on out, watch what they're doing, help what they're doing, join them, become a volunteer, buy a license plate any way you can. Big changes are going to occur. It's going to take a little while, so please be patient. Thanks for being with us. I'm Phil Fatica.
You're watching the Mill Creek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.